Alrighty, folks, we are going to talk about short-term rentals, Airbnb, VRBO. We're going to talk with the one and only Mr. Jason Pritchard, who I believe has 3 Airbnbs. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. It's an utter and complete disaster. He's looking to sell off his entire portfolio. Never do it, never do it. Is that what's going on, Jason?
Well, my reality is a little bit different, Zuber, and it's been interesting. I think, we always talk about this channel and the doom and gloom sells, right? And I think it's important to share some of the victories and stuff that we have. And I won't lie. And I know we've talked about this openly. 2022 was not a great year for short-term rentals in our market, right? Especially for me. I think a lot of our properties, either ran at break even or turned, very small profits. But 2023 has been a new story, man. And it's been very interesting to see, how our Airbnbs are performed. So I'm excited to jump into it and kind of talk.
So let's where are we at? You and Jen have 3, as we said. Is that right?
Yeah, we have 3. And in our market is Fresno, California. And so one of the things that I think people need to understand about where we're doing our short-term rentals is it's not a tourist destination, right? You're not going to have, these crazy travel seasons and big demand. We're not at the beach. We're not, in the mountains or anything like that. So for us, it's much more of a suburban listing. So we get more, traveling nurses, people that are relocating for insurance, people that are traveling for family events, work, business, that type of stuff. And, there was an interesting thing that happened over, we started our Airbnbs. I think this is year 3 for us, right? So we started end of 2020, beginning of 2021. And it was really easy. There wasn't a lot of listings. We just put our things up and it was just getting booked. And I was like, God, why didn't I do 20 of these things?
I need more of these.
Yeah, exactly. That was my experience in the first year. They were just printing money. And year 2, we saw the market get saturated. We saw a lot of people jump on the bandwagon. And I think that's where a lot of people got hurt. And we've talked about that, right? People were just thinking, hey, this is going to be easy money. They were underwriting these purchases and only making the numbers work as Airbnbs. And as the market shift, the economy changed, the traveling needs for people, especially in markets like us, kind of went down. I think a lot of people got smacked around a little bit, man. And so, yeah, it's been interesting to see how that's happened.
So I'm curious about 2023. So first and foremost, I want to make it clear. I believe Airbnb or short-term rentals is an amazing business. I have a particular aversion to gurus telling you it's easy. Yeah. That's what upsets me. And then I have a really bad aversion to idiot investors who believe the hype, overpay, and down select quality. That's how you get hurt. If you do the work and you find a market and you do that, by all means, go nuts. I have seen investors get lazy and believe the story of easy, and that's where you get hurt. So that's where my aversion comes from. So let's talk about 2023. What changed? Did the market change? Did Jason Pritchard's systems change? Did inventory just go away because people got stupid and left? What happened in 23 to make it better than 22?
I think the big thing for us is that we saw the market kind of correct itself. So the available listings has dropped down specifically. So I think that was one of the things that happened here. The number of available Airbnbs just reduced by a few hundred. So we went from 1,200.
There you go.
Yeah, I think we went from 1,200 to around 800 available listings in our market. So you could see a lot of the people, and we've talked about it and I've seen it, right? I've seen actual listings of fully furnished properties where it was just an Airbnb that, the owner was just getting ready to sell because it wasn't as easy as they thought, right? So I think the things that have helped me specifically is that I initially came into this with the intent of building a business around it. So it wasn't going to be Jen and I answering the calls, scheduling the cleaners, doing those things. I think the big mistake that people make outside of underwriting the deal and only making it work as an Airbnb is they don't realize that you're getting into the hospitality business when you sign up for this. And so we never wanted to be in charge of checking in guests and responding to all these things. And so we went into it building it out around our existing infrastructure and our team. So you have to have systems and people in place. And that doesn't have to cost a lot either, guys. Like we have one full-time virtual assistant that we pay $10 an hour, and she manages all of our Airbnbs and all of our long-term rentals, believe it or not. And so we've built systems and processes in place, and it doesn't cost a lot of money. It does take some time to train and do those things, but we eliminate a lot of the the busy work, scheduling the cleaners, responding to the guests, doing those things. So the only thing that really kind of comes up to us is when there's a major issue that happens. And for that, we can deal with.
Yeah, so I'm curious about this 33% drop because, again, for me, a lot of this is supply and demand. It got oversaturated. I thought Fresno instituted a tax, or maybe it's a registration, I don't know what they called it, that specifically went after short-term rentals. What was that, and when did that go into effect?
So that went into effect, I want to say at least 12 months ago. So the city of Fresno basically, levied a tax and said, you have to register all of your short-term rentals, right? Okay. And then you have to, you have to pay, I don't know the tax percentage right off the top of my head, but there's a tax that you have to pay for the listing, right? And so, I think that is definitely something whenever there's, regulation like that. And I think the people that were in the industry, they knew that this was going to come, right? It was never going to be a thing where, the city of Fresno was never going to come in and kind of instill some regulation. So I definitely think that, that played an impact. But my big thing, I think, Zuber, was that we just had too many people jump in. It was just like everything else. Just even on the real estate side, we saw a lot of people jump in when the market was super frothy in 2020. And it was the same thing on the Airbnb side. They thought it was going to be easy money. And it just turned out to not be.
And the other thing that I want to point out, you and I are going to be doing this show for years to come.
Yep.
There will be another hot thing. You and I will see it early. We will probably do something in that space, and then the masses will come and we will go, oh, time to leave.
That's right.
Because everybody loves the easy button, and real estate doesn't have an easy button.
And I'll speak to something that you said earlier, right? There's a lot of fast money dreams being sold behind Airbnbs, right? And it's like, yeah, you can get this and then quit your job and do all of these things. Guys, the thing that got me through 2022 was that I had a fully functioning and sustainable like real estate company, right? We were still flipping, wholesaling houses. We still had our long-term rental portfolio. All those things offset kind of like, the pain that we felt in 2022. So all my eggs were not just in this one basket. We had other sources of income and other things that we were doing that propped us up during that downtime. And we were able to outlast, and now we're reaping some of the rewards.
So the last thing about I'll ask about the Airbnb business, because again, this is not an area I play at. I've never chose to enter the hospitality business. What are the daily rates now versus maybe the peak of 2021? Are they back to where they were? Because I know they came down, but are they back?
That's a really good question. They've come down and they haven't rebounded fully. So we have 3 total, and we have 2 kind of what I would consider are more entry-level ones. And then we have a 3rd one that we can charge a little bit more of a premium because of the location and the house and just some of the amenities. The 2 entry-level ones, we used to rent out from $150 to $175 a night. And now we're probably closer to $100 to $125. And the nicer one was $250 to $300. And now that one's low twos. And so I think what's helped with us is our occupancy rate. I think we're at close to 90% for the 2 entry-level ones. And our nice one, we've had a traveling nurse in there that was paying almost $5,000 a month that they've been in there for like 9 months straight. So, it's just been, it's been, very interesting to see that, you know what I mean? And so we're definitely seeing the occupancy come back up, but the prices haven't rebounded as much as I would have liked yet.
And again, the key to your business is you underwrote these as long-term rentals, and you just happen to try short-term first, and you're happy to keep them short-term as long as they're profitable. But as soon as they're not, you'll just flip them to long-term and just add them to the regular portfolio. Is that correct?
Yeah. And beyond just making them cash flow as long-term rentals, we have equity in all of these. So if we want, Jennifer and I really seriously considered the 3rd one, which was our lowest performing one. We seriously had considerations of selling that one at the beginning of this year. We were just like, you know what, maybe we should just sell this, right? And I'm all into that one for $225. When I refinanced it a year ago, it appraised at over $300,000. So we've got, if I need to liquidate and exit, I've got $75,000 in equity, right? That I can just offload it and move on. So I think, just like anything else, man, not rushing into it, not overpaying for it, waiting for the right deal and being patient, running your numbers correctly, having multiple exit strategies, building a business around it. So it's not just you in there, scrambling to clean toilets and different things if your cleaner bails out on you and all the other horror stories that you've heard. So yeah, definitely a science behind it for sure.
Well, this is why I love having this conversation. It is the real world. I came to this expecting more horror stories, but you're like, dude, I'm 90% full. 33% of the competition's gone away. We're printing money again. So how do you where do you document your story? Because again, you're putting out amazing stuff. Where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram and Facebook is where I post most of my content. We do a lot of day in the life type stuff. My website is jasonpritchard.com. That's where we share all of the tools and the resources that we have. I get a ton of interaction from the One Rental at a Time community. So if you guys need anything we have a whole free starter kit up there for you. You just have to go register for the site, download all the documents that we use. I'd love to be a resource for your channel, man.
Yeah. Do me a favor, folks. Go to jasonpritchard.com. Get those free resources because they won't always be free. So go get them today. Jason, thank you so much.
Thanks, man.